understood about my computer friend. So, so we want to recognize the true nature of the world outside and the mental projection. Why? It will reveal the real self. It will reveal the real self. 10 buckets of water, sun is reflected there. 10 buckets of water, yes, the sun is reflected in the buckets of the water, but I put my hand into the water to find the sun, I cannot find it. This is an experience of the mind. Is it not? Yes, it is an experience of the mind through my sense organs. Look at it, so easy to understand. So, what is this? This is an experience of the mind. I'm seeing you. You are seeing me. All experiences taking place in the mind. You have to contemplate and reflect every day. Every experience, good, bad, pain, pleasure, reaction, hatred, jealousy, kindness, sympathy, empathy, etc., all experiences takes place in the mind. Did you contemplate? And did you have a question that if all experiences of the mind are dropped, the real self will reveal itself? But how to make people understand? We say, yes, 10 buckets of water, you see the sun. You are putting your hands into the sun, into the water, you don't see it. So someone comes, that is the role of a teacher. So the teacher comes, he says, okay, bring the hands out. And now look up and you see the sun. So all the 10 suns present in the bucket of water is resolved. All experiences of your mind are resolved. It results into a choiceless awareness and you recognize the real self. First thing is clear. Okay, first thing is clear. But the problem is that if I'm a non-seeker, I cannot do it. I intellectually understand it. Why you're saying this? Yes, it is an intellectual understanding. But when I'm a non-seeker, first it is an intellectual understanding. And what is the second thing? As a non-seeker, my mind, because of the past impressions, is still searching peace and happiness in the world outside, in objects, in people, in events. I'm keeping quiet for you to digest this. So now the second problem comes that I'm a non-seeker and still I want happiness. Oh, let me grab the happiness. I don't have enough time. Let me grab the peace and happiness through meditation. So because I have to do a lot of work outside. Why? Because of happiness. So I'm a non-seeker. Second point. Understand. So now I have become a seeker. So what is the problem? What is the problem? Now I'm a seeker. I claim that I'm a seeker. So I have to find out Mind is searching, craving, running after the objects, people, things in search of the happiness. I have to prove that the happiness is not located there. Otherwise, this mind is not going to listen to you. You may say, yes, weird guy is talking sense, but it is not, I'm not, I'm still, working on it. There is no working on it. You are a seeker, yes. So I have to prove all experiences of the mind. I'm returning again. All experiences of the mind gained in contact with the world outside hides the pain inside. The master says it hides the pain inside. But it doesn't mean that, okay, you go to honey, I hate you because you don't you don't have a property of happiness. That is another problem of a non-seeker. So there is a very thin line between a seeker and a non-seeker. Now I will stop eating chicken, I will be total vegan. One girl was telling me that if I can control the world, I will stop 8 billion people not to eat any non-vegetarian. I will put them on the vegan. It seems a big desire, but we all have great desires. That is why the mind is running outside, and it makes me a non-seeker. Third or fourth point. So that is why Master says we have to become a seeker. Seeker starts the journey of happiness is my essential nature. Oh, now I accepted you, teacher. No, don't accept. Prove it. That is why we are continuing the journey. We have to prove it. In examination, if question comes, how many states are there in United States of America? Write the names of. And the student writes the answer. You don't know. That is why you are asking the question. I have to prove it. I have to write the names. Same way. If I say that happiness is my essential nature, it means I have to bring an end or just keep it aside. Or let us say, let us keep all the experiences of the mind in abeyance. I'm using the right word. Keep all the experiences of the mind in abeyance, and then let us see what happens. What will happen? It is only the real self. It is only the absolute existence, consciousness, and bliss. Otherwise, RTT, do you still remember RTT? In Gita, there are three types of, all pleasures are classified into three categories. R means rati, sensual pleasure, includes sexual pleasure. T, another T is known as tripti, getting, I'm very good, you have prepared a good food. It pertains to the food. And the third T is tushti, pertaining to possessions. I possess home, I possess a couple of dollars, I possess car, etc., etc. All the three. So these three, seeking these three kinds of pleasure, all experiences of the mind represented from there. Fourth point or fifth point, whatever point. Next point. Beauty of the Eastern wisdom, and especially this text, is that it starts with the experiences of the mind, which everyone experiences, whether you are a Harvard professor, whether you are a manual worker, whether you are adolescent. Adolescents, I mean to say that those who understand, they can logically put it. Can you tell me who is the human being who does not experience the waking, sleep, and dream? So, Master is starting from the scratch. We all have that experiences. And from there, he is taking us to find the real self. What a beauty. Have you understood this point? I have not taken up this point. Look at this. Every human being has this experience. You are sick, you are healthy, you are able, you are disabled. You see that? So, from that common experiences of the mind, I have to prove that I am Sat Chitanand. I am the X. Uh, that is what the choiceless awareness. Now you see that you can get an understanding, intellectual understanding also. When I said that all you sit down, maintain your awareness, watch which experience you have now, label it, it belongs to mental experience, I'm not interested. Mind will play actively. Because if you want to keep all your experiences of the mind in abeyance, it is the death of the mind. That is what it is known as the no mind state. Mind does not want to do that. Mind through the I-ness, false I. You see the how our masters have recognized the false I does not want to. Okay, I don't have any experience, I'm not interested in too much of the food, I don't taste it, but I have other experiences which gives me the pleasure. They will return to the mind. It will prevent me to realize. It is not 10 buckets full of water. It may be millions of buckets full of water. The mind goes to one. It says, oh, you don't want this, so let us have second, third, fourth. That is the meaning of wandering mind. So that is why the master gives us, I have added that Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamaduchyate Purnasya Purnamadai Purnameva Vashishyati. Shanti Mantra. So what the Shanti Mantra? That is infinite, eternal. So any manifestation of that real self will also be infinite and eternal. So when I see you, you are eternal. Yes, not from the standpoint of body, not from the standpoint of mind, but the standpoint of consciousness. Do you see that? That is the summary of the 15 chapters, more or less around 600 verses. Every verse is so deep, delightful, and interesting. So that infinite proceeds from the infinite. That is the meaning of the second line. Taking the infinitude of the infinite, it remains as the infinite alone. Sun remains the sun alone. You cannot You cannot enclose, limit it in a simple bucket of water. That is my mental experiences, and if I keep these experiences in abeyance, mind is empty. We have a choiceless awareness, and we are living into that state all the time. Look at it. That is what is the journey. In summary, I have explained it. But yes, don't forget that we have to prove what the master says. We have two goals: end of suffering once and for all, and awakening to inner peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. When? During the only meditation state? No, all the time. What do you mean by all the time? In the waking state, all the time, whether I'm living a personal, professional, social, family life, interacting, there is that experience continues with me. So now make a point that what are the things necessary. I have enlisted with the points. If I'm a non seeker, I intellectually understand, but the journey doesn't move forward. What we say, there is a proverb, necessity is a mother of invention. Yeah. Something like this, I think I have spoken rightly. Yes, David says right. Do I feel the necessity to be happy all the time? Or the mind says, forget about it. Don't spend too much of time. Take a cup of coffee, have a food, go on a vacation. I'm not saying don't do that. Do I feel the necessity? Do I feel the need? I don't feel the need, so why it will happen? And if you feel the necessity, whether you are attending this session or not, you will find it. You'll find it. The master in the few verses is going to talk about this. That is why I'm just giving a prelude, or you can say, an explanation before these verses. I will start. So in the last session, or last couple of sessions, we understood that there is an entity which is present in the sleep, waking, and the dream state that is not changing, that is a knower, and that is we term as a pure consciousness. When we say pure consciousness, it is of the nature of existence, consciousness, and bliss, or you can say the permanent happiness. So, what if we explore deeply what exactly is this happiness in our life? Permanent. What is this permanent happiness? So, we are going to prove it. We have to prove it. We have not to be religious or cult. One girl told me that I'm spiritual. I said, very good. How do you say that, my young friend? Is 26 years old. She said, I went outside, I saw the sea, I feel the touch of the patio. No, backyard. Yeah, I feel the touch of the patio, and I was looking at the sea beach, and I felt that. I said, sea is always available, patio is always available, your sense organs are always available. Why didn't you feel the sensation in the touch whenever you go to the patio? Why you are specializing your mental experiences, which you want to term as spiritual experience? We have to be very ruthless. She got annoyed. She said, I'm not attending your session. I said, thank you. You can see my state of. So, last session, we said love for the sake of love, not for the sake of others. I used the statement likes. What did I say? I forgot that. Likes do not remain likes in the mind, which will reflect the pure consciousness. Dislike, dislikes, hatred, jealousy, duality, conflict, all the sensual experiences belongs to the mind. So I need not to control the mind. I have to become aware that like does not remain as a like. It means I'm not searching anything. I'm not searching happiness in any object outside. It demands an extraordinary awareness of a seeker. We have already discussed two problems. What two problems do you remember? I see honey, my mind instantly projects happiness there. So two obstacle comes. One obstacle that projected happiness is on the honey. And second, that I forget the real self. So that forgetfulness is ignorance, and this is the projection. I have to remove these two things, ignorance and the projection, and then what is left is the pure happiness. Look at it. Look at it. That is what. So the last week again, I'm repeating, Master, how intelligently, wisely, in a common sense approach, he says, don't you experience happiness? Yes, I experience the happiness. Do you experience continued state of happiness? No. Master is saying, if that happiness is known and also unknown. Do you see that? Are you getting it? That happiness is known and still unknown. Unknown for a reason, known for a reason. I know a bit of it in contact with an object or a person. So, Master gave this example. There are 50 students, and one student is your son, and they all are singing in a chorus. So, something, that singing is lost in a chorus singing. But I am aware my son is singing. I'm still aware. So, known, unknown, known, unknown. What we are doing, we want to prove it that permanent happiness is our real nature. And once we prove it, we are there. Think. Now, from onward from this session, we need to more reflect and contemplate, provided you are a seeker and you contemplate and reflect. I know a little bit of happiness because I'm seeking happiness in every thought, speech, and action. So it means there is some presence of happiness is with me. Obviously, I know it. You see, I don't want to deviate, but I'm deviating in one line. There are three steps: know it, desire it, realize it. So that is the English translation of Janati Ichhati Karoti. Janati, to know it. If I don't know happiness, why I will search happiness? Do you see that? I will never search for happiness. So it means I know a bit. So when I know it, then only I desire it. So when I desire it, then only I work on it. I have a lot of pain, so how to get rid of the pain. I have to seek an appointment with the doctor. I have a knowledge of the pain. Do you see that instantly makes you a non-seeker, and you are caught into the delusion and projection of the world. See, janati ichhati karoti. That's another principle. I deviated a bit. So if I don't know anything, how can I have a desire for that? We are proving. We want to prove that permanent happiness is my nature. Why I want to prove? So that the mind is constantly bombarded with the thought, feeling, seeking something to gather the experiences from the world outside will drop by itself. Because I'm making a conscious journey. Clear? Happiness is known in the objects, but unknown in me due to ignorance. And I say that I've already given you 50 students an example. One of them is my son, and who is also singing, but I cannot clearly experience my son singing. My son singing. I see those 49 objects for seeking happiness outside. So the abstraction or ignorance or delusion. So the problem is that subjective happiness, objective happiness. So if my mind is 100% clear that there is no object, event, person, relations, action can bring the permanent happiness in me, do you know how much intense awareness you need to have it? The mind jumps. Okay, now just rest. Let's have a cup of tea. Yes, finished. You have lost your happiness. Do you see that? Another point, the master further says that all our thought and action is seeking happiness. We are acting, thinking, speaking, and acting for happiness. Can you tell me anyone in the world who says, I'm going to speak to have a stress? Can you say that? I'm going to fight with my honey to get more pleasure. Leave aside sadist, we are seekers, So don't question. Answer is no. So common sense approach. It's a common sense, we are not going into this spatial people. Those who outrightly reject happiness is outside, they claim, and those who are sadist. We leave both of them. Common sense. So every thought and action is seeking happiness. No one actively seek stress and anxiety and suffering, external pursuit of happiness, can you complete it? External pursuit of happiness leads to frustration, anxiety, fear, attachment. We are proving. I already gave an example how to save $1 million from my husband, whom I'm going to divorce shortly. I was, I was laughing at that article. But the best part is that, I have to be little biased. It only happens in America. But at least we are very open to the leader of the free world. Obstruction to self-recognition. Obstruction to self-recognition. Let us pick up a couple of more thoughts so that we can prove the perceptual illusion. One thing is that we have a perceptual illusion. Seeing wave instead of water, the wave is dancing, and my mind also starts dancing. Look at the waves, how beautiful the waves, and I'm seeking a pleasure. Finding happiness in objects rather than the self. The mind is distracted at anything, at any moment, in any condition, in any event. That is what the master is talking about, hearing all of the 50 students, but missing one's own child voice. This is perceptual illusion. And then there is a physical obstruction. What are the physical obstruction? Today you will understand that why we talk of the three bodies, three states of the mind, 5 layers of the experiences. They are the physical obstruction. Come on, I'm sitting comfortably. My body, it means I'm sitting comfortably, so I'm happy sitting. Why I should search the permanent happiness pertaining to the three bodies? That is why we talk of the three bodies. That is why we talk of the 5 koshas. That is why we talk of the 3 states. Do you see the importance of it? We are not creating anything. We want to recognize what is already there. That is the meaning of proving. Where it leads to. Master uses a beautiful statement, other masters. So I have to recognize and become aware of the defects in the world outside of which I come in contact. This girl, she was very happy. Sir, you are very good. You present the things beautifully. And just I challenged her experiences. She said, I'm not attending. This happened yesterday. Should I help her to continue her delusion? That is not the job of a teacher of Eastern wisdom. So we are trying now, we moved our topic. If I understand the defects of the world outside where I'm seeking pleasure and happiness, and my mind realizes I can get rid of it, I can get rid of it? I can get rid of it, the craving mind that is seeking happiness outside. Do you see? Do you see how we are, how the master, why we do not find permanent happiness in the world? That is another statement I can say. But the mind objects to it. Does your mind objecting to it? No, I'm having a cup of tea, it gives me pleasure. Accept it. I'm sitting. Sitting means I'm sitting with the body, being comfortable. So it has the body gives me the happiness. I need a very subtle awareness to explore that. Do you see that? Next point, we need to prove the world is constantly changing. So I want a continued state of happiness, but anything that is changing cannot bring me the continued state of happiness. It has never happened. Anything that is changing will not change its state. It has never happened. It is not going to happen. Do you see that? So first we say we have to find out the defects in the world seeking happiness. Then the word we say, oh, this word is constantly changing. Object, people, relations, everything is constantly changing. The nature of the entire world is change. Can we make the world constant, steady? My, my, my illusion, my deluded mind creates a projection that the world is steady, and then I see the happiness. After a few days, I get frustrated. Can you make the world steady? Anyone steady? No, it is not in my hand. What happens if I try to make it steady? Projection. Can I make a very harsh statement? My near and dear one is dying, and I say, please don't die. Is it possible? Please don't die. I love you. We try to hide it because of our projection, because of our delusion, and that is why it prevents me to realize the real self. But the mind continues to live in delusion. Today's soulmate, tomorrow's soulmate, day after tomorrow divorce. Again, I create a cycle, soulmate. Master is going to talk in the future verses, very deeper understanding how to get rid of this obstruction in ignorance. So I said better to, in couple of few sessions, let me prepare a foundation so that we can easily understood. So what is that understanding? Defects in the world. Body, breath, mind, intellect, ego are essentially the part of the world because reflected consciousness. It is constantly changing. It is the part of the world. The world is changing. Means what? I cannot find the permanent happiness, but still I experience some idea, something happiness is there. Because it is the real self. Real self is consciousness. So if I'm not conscious, I cannot experience. So I'm experiencing the delusion also, I'm experiencing a momentary happiness, which I call it a pleasure. I have to drop the delusion in order to experience that permanent happiness, to recognize that I am the real self, I am the pure consciousness. Proving. The other text says you have an attachment. Now you see, Master is not talking now of attachment, but I'm giving you. When you have an attachment, you have a delusion. When you have a delusion, you have a foolishness. There are 5 types of foolishness. We'll talk later. It's a deviation. So, because of the 5 types of the foolishness, mind says, I have heard you, beard guy. It's okay. Just after this session, I have a need to take a cup of tea, coffee, because I'm exhausted listening to you. Or I feel sleepy, I sleep. Simple answer, but we have to go deeper into it. The mind has to be go deeper. Like a movie projected on a blank screen, the material world appears on the canvas of a consciousness through 3 ever-changing elements: physical body, mental body. Or simple example, the screen does not change. So we have to contemplate and reflect by going deeper into the world so that I can recognize the defects of the world, why I do not get a permanent happiness in the world. The world consists of three basic elements: time, location, objects. Objects includes people, relationship, any object, whether it's a money, car, or anything. Time, constantly changing. Location, like shifting. We are constantly moving from one place to the other. Objects. Look at it. The objects is the monitor. We are attending a session. It is an event. Event always has 3 elements. Can you show me any 4th element? So if I'm aware of all the elements and maintain my awareness, if the mind gets attached to seeking happiness in that event, in that object, in that location, I just need to maintain an awareness and I'm done. So all the time, it's just a matter of awareness. So the master named it, it is a conditioned happiness. I am conditioned, my mind is conditioned by the time, location, and the objects. Because of the projection and the delusion, and it says, yes, I'm very happy. I'm very happy to have a iPhone. I'm very happy with you. Nice to see you. And then I'm using in a right way object-based happiness. So you can contemplate this week object-based happiness. I will be happy when I get this or when I throw this. When I get rid of this car, which I've been using for the last 20 years, object-based happiness. You see, what the master is trying to do, he is raising a bar of our awareness, of our understanding. And by understanding, he is already removing the delusion, like a child who thinks the new toy will bring endless joy. Like a hamster collecting nuts in a wheel, never satisfied. Like, like trying to quench the thirst by drinking salt water. It doesn't appear as a salt water in the beginning when I'm seeing the happiness outside in object. But more I drink, person-based happiness, like trying to nail jelly to a wall. I will be happy when person becomes something to me. That is the meaning of relations, isn't it? But make it sure, I'm not destroying any relations. I'll be happy, like expecting a river to flow backward, like trying to hold on to mercury with bare hands, like attempting to control the wind's direction, attempting. This is what we try to do. One master used to say that all of our relations are like the birds. The tighter you hold them, the more they struggle to be free. Why don't you live in freedom? You give freedom and you live in freedom. Relationship based happiness. This is the problem. I'll be happy when my relationship becomes this, that. Time based happiness. I want to grasp yesterday or hold on to tomorrow. I'll be happy when time, this time, when good time, we say when a good time will come. Is time good or bad? Are you understanding what we are doing? We are trying to find out the defects in the world, but why? Because mind is constantly seeking happiness in the world. How? By the three classification. And that is a projection. That is what we are, if it is a projection, mind should clearly understand and drop the projection. Like a shadow, you can never catch up with. Time is like a speeding arrow. Once released, its course cannot be altered. Location-based happiness, like this. So what is the fundamental error? And then we will go to Gita in our next lesson to understand it clearly, so that the verses can easily be understood. So fundamental error. What is the fundamental error? First is the projection. You see, every day, it comes once a day. I see the wall and the mind says it is your house. Do you see the projection? Like delusion. One is the projection. Projection causes the delusion. What appears true is not true. Who created this delusion? Can you say that the wall has created this delusion? Ignorance, like a lion cub raised by the sheep. Attachment, like a spider trapped in its own web. So we have to just contemplate reference to the word attachment, ignorance, delusion, and the projection. Just do just for 5 minutes during the day, a couple of times, where I'm what I'm trying to achieve and do, mind will say happiness. If you go a little deeper, I'm meeting you for happiness. I'm discarding you for happiness. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. Eyes being comfortable and carefree. Let us have a different approach. First is waking approach. We are in a waking state. Waking state identifies with the body and the mind. So the mind says close. I say close your eyes and your mind recognizes the eyes. In dream, can you recognize this? No. In sleep, can you recognize? No. Oh, yes, you are right. Oh, so it is a mental state. This waking state is constantly changing. But it is better to, I will repeat it again, better to go with being comfortable in the beginning. So you see that now the two, two sets of delusion is there. First set of delusion we remove by being comfortable. Being comfortable, yes, comfort I experience in the mind, in relationship to the body, and this comfort is also constantly changing because it is in relationship to the body and the mind, which is an experience. So, what is the projection? If I keep the body steady, if I feel the sensation, I will be comfortable. Why not being comfortable all the time? Comfort is a state, it is a state of awareness. So, when we pinpoint, it becomes a contemplative meditation. In contemplating and reflective meditation, your fact is that you are not doing any practice. You are invoking the knowledge. That is why I say it is a non practice. So, looking at the body, entire body, sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Now, can you reflect on the being carefree with reference to the happiness? You're listening to me, yes, and suddenly you have five more thoughts. Then your understanding, even if you are listening, your understanding is not clear. That is what the master is saying, 50 student versus 1. But then you claim that I'm listening, but I missed. Are you happy? Look at the happiness or the joy at this moment. Even when I say you are happy, you will find that joy is impersonal. It is not personal. When it is personal, attachment is there. When it is more personal, projection is there. When it is more personal, delusion is there. When it is more personal, ignorance is there. How we make it personal? We don't recognize the defects in the world. Where the world has the body, breath, mind, intellect, ego is a part of the world. The body is composed of five elements, three gunas. Mind has the same thing, intellect and I thought. In the very beginning, I opened the talk that all experiences takes place in the mind. And anyhow, we have to not only prove, but I have to find the way how to keep all experiences of the mind in abeyance or keep it aside. Or simply you recognize they do not belong to you. So will they stop? No, they will not stop. The way I recognize neighbor's house is not mine, your car is not mine. That very I-ness has nothing to do with any of the thoughts that is moving into your mind can result into choiceless awareness. I'm just giving different expression to help you assimilate the teaching of this great master. I'm asking you to apply a simple method of reflection. Neighbor's house is not mine. Neighbor's car is not mine. Your car is not me. Same way, any thought that moves into your mind, I-ness is absent there. That means it is not mine. It is not me. As if you are filtering 49 students. Any thought, feeling, emotions that pass into your mind, you are not at all might have got a glimpse of what exactly is the choiceless awareness. And what is mindfulness, or what is live in a moment, or living from a moment to moment? Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. Let us start with the Dennis. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you. I'm fine, and thank you for the lesson and the practice. I was thinking during the meditation and during your talk that the mind is very much attached to a lot of millions of uh, objects and
Even,
manifestations, I would say,
yeah,
of the real self in the outside world. One thing that is important that you were explaining that we need to prove, and in my understanding, it is to educate the mind that these attachments, although the mind wants to extract happiness from these attachments, but it is not possible. So the clear understanding, not as a general concept, but in every particular case, that here I cannot extract happiness, and here I can also not extract happiness. And that is a matter of awareness, a matter
yeah,
of recognition that if I have high enough of awareness to see that this is the moment when the mind is wanting to chase something outside, and stop right there by understanding that it is senseless,
yes.
then there is a advancement on the path, I think.
Yes, Dennis, you are perfectly right. You see it, you express it. Yes, let's have a cup of tea. But internally, you say, mind, it is senseless to find happiness there. And then you know what happens. You just rise into a higher awareness. But if we are a seeker, but if we are a non seeker, then the reaction comes. Another reaction takes another reaction, it, projection, delusion, ignorance continues. Very good reflection. How are you, David and Jay?
Thank you very much. The takeaway from the lesson for me is kind of, if you look at the sun, we think, a simple mind thinks that the sun comes and goes, it sets, it rises. It's not there when it's cloudy or rainy, but the sun is always there. The sun is our light. And I think for me, it was good to look at that, to compare it to happiness, that happiness is always there. There could be clouds in front of it. It could be setting for a while, but it is always there. So that theme sort of struck with me through the whole lesson and then the meditation. So thank you.
Yeah, that's another approach. Whether I say, you have given a metaphor that, yes, the sun never rises, never sets. So it means any objective happiness, the moment my mind runs after the objective happiness, I'm aware of it. So that very awareness is the sun, and that very sun is the experience. That I'm just above, transcended the objective reality. And that gives rise to the choiceless awareness. That is one approach, and another approach, the moment I become aware, it is senseless. So one is pointing to the defects of the world, other is looking for the highest happiness, permanent happiness. When I say sun never rises, never sets, obviously we are indicating that it is unchanging identity, metaphorically. Can I become aware? Yes, we can be aware of that. How are you, Jerry?
I'm good, thank you. The meditation was deep. I really like what stuck with me throughout is the proving it. I think so important for us on our journey to understand exactly where we are and also to evolve, to study ourselves by proving it. And so that will uncover that the happiness is always there. But if we're not, depending on where we are in our journey, we'll continue to be reactive, have excuses and blame, complain, all that.
Yes, that's why I use these words and the phrases. So I believe the teacher's role in Eastern wisdom is to give the best in everything. So you rightly picked up proof. So we are a student in a college or university. Brandy knows much better. She gives the questions to the students to answer. They have to prove it. Then only they will get the marks. If they write the answer, I know everything, teacher. I have solved it last week. You will not get any mark. So majority of these principles were twisted and has been colored. So we have to simply, a real self is there, yes. What is real self? Pure consciousness. What is this pure consciousness? Existence, consciousness, and bliss. So today we talked about the bliss or permanent happiness. And from there we started exploring to prove that permanent happiness is not the property, product, and part of the world outside of the objective reality. In a way, that also means that you shut up all the experiences of the mind. When you stop all the experiences of the mind, you will become unconscious. That is another fear we will take up later. How are you, Brandy?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, it's interesting to think about and explore the idea that everything happens in the mind, right? And that you have to prove that, especially when things seem challenging, right? When you're going through something that seems problematic, I guess. But yeah, and I appreciate this a lot. And it does work with, the work I do, because you're right, students, if my students said, well, it just is, or whatever, they wouldn't work grade wise. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it. You even said to say that I'm still working or still working on it doesn't even work. I don't know. I'll leave it at
We
that.
problem is that we don't want to think. And what is the non-thinking mind? The entire animal kingdom. How they work impulsively. So I will also work impulsively. Oh, you were a soulmate. Now you are a soulmate. Get hell out of it. And now, I will find better than you. Again, I'm entering into another delusion. We don't want to prove it. That's why I use the word. I have to think. I have to think, contemplate, reflect. If I don't do it, it will not happen. And that will help me rise in awareness. How are you, Terry? Are you ready to speak?
Well, I guess. Um, I'm just focused on everything is an experience of the
Yeah.
mind. So I'm everything. I just stayed on that as I observed everything that happened, and then I thought, and that happened to me. And yeah,
There is
and
another text. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Complete it.
no, go ahead, please. There was
There is,
nothing.
there is another text which that master simply teaches that you just maintain an awareness of all the experiences that is taking place in the mind, you will transcend the mind.
Oh,
Why? Because it is that awareness which is a knower is a common factor in all your experiences of the mind. And that is why that knower is known as the witness consciousness. We use the special word for it, it is Sakshi. I am aware, the knower, plus all the experiences. Now, all the experiences I see, they are the sun buckets in the water, what is left. I return back to myself. It is permanent happiness. I'm of the nature of happiness. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. The practice was good. Mind became calm. It's like that all these principles, I can use them as a thought now. Whenever
Yeah.
some mind is wandering, so this principle come as a thought and it disengage me from that experiences which is coming and causing stressful experiences.
Yeah. Be very clear. What he is saying, that also pay a light onto it. You all have good contemplation, reflective thoughts. He was saying that we have to think. Yes, you think. But a common understanding of meditation and mindfulness is that it is not thinking. You have a craving, for example, you have a craving for a coffee. I'm not saying drug. You have a craving for coffee and you are ready for meditation. Throughout the meditation practice, your mind is thinking, oh, I should have a cup of coffee. So now, if you have that thought of craving for a coffee, your mind is thinking that coffee is objective reality. It is a part of the world. It is constantly changing. Coffee cannot give me a permanent happiness. Let me think. You are not wasting the time in meditation and you fail to do it by constantly craving for a coffee throughout the practice of meditation. Think why it has come. What will happen? One thought will cut the other thought. The last thing is very important. One of the greatest masters who ever lived in 19th century, Ramakrishna Paramhans, I remember his phrase that if the nail goes inside your toes, you need another nail to remove it. You don't need Caesar to remove it. It will not happen. If a thorn goes into your toes, you need another needle to remove it. So that is why we say that. Then why you are thinking, you are talking of choiceless awareness. Yes, you continue to think, to realize and recognize the defects in the world, both the thoughts will be dropped. And then you will enter into the state of what we say the choiceless awareness. That is all very good contemplation. We'll meet again. Thank you very much. Oh, I will, Ashok, you can share the experiences next week. Yeah.
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू। नमस्ते सर, थैंक यू एवरीवन।
Namaste.
नमस्ते।